Hi, Royce Morales again. And today I'm going to talk to you about a very specific part of your fear-based consciousness that I've talked about a lot in previous videos. And I want to talk about what I refer to as your reward system. Now, the reward system keeps you stuck in patterns and repetitious things that keep happening in your life because subconsciously you don't want those situations to go away. You don't want them to shift because then everything would shift in your life and you wouldn't get those rewards anymore. So I'm going to get into some details about that. I'm going to talk about some very specific rewards that you may not be conscious of in your life and what that does to you, etc. So now, what is a reward system? A reward is a subconscious negative or seemingly, and I'm using the word seemingly in quotes, seemingly positive reward that you're getting for keeping or holding on to various patterns, some very stuck issues, even people in your life that you're getting some kind of a reward system from. They're also referred to as payoffs, but I like to keep the word rewards because for some reason, I like it better. So now we hold on to these rewards because we believe that keeping them is going to keep us safer. It's going to give us some kind of good feeling for some reason, even though, again, these rewards are generally negative in some way. Resolving or releasing your need for these rewards is miraculous. I've had students have situations that all they had to do was realize the reward that they were getting, the subconscious reward, and they decided, ooh, I don't like that. And so they decided to just let it go, and things in their life almost miraculously shifted. And I'm going to tell you a story in a minute about one of my students that had something so dramatic that changed just by looking at and realizing her reward system. So just to remind you, the fear-based consciousness is the part of you that has made decisions, programmed decisions inside during moments of pain or loss or unconsciousness. Now, these decisions are running your life subconsciously, and we hold on to those decisions until we realize and get in touch with them again and release them so that they don't have to have that impact in our life. So because of those decisions, because of those incidents of pain or loss, we are literally being run by fear. And because of that, we have these little sub decisions that we make. And again, I'm calling them rewards that we hold on to because of the programs that are running our life. So let me tell you the story about this particular student who shall remain nameless. When she realized that she was being run by a particular reward and how everything changed. Now, this student was scheduled to go out to dinner with some friends, and she had just started her period, and she was in agony. She was having terrible cramps. And rather than canceling this dinner date, she decided, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to kind of muddle through it in pain. And her friends arrived to pick her up, and she was lying on the couch, all curled up in a fetal position in pain. And the man that she was going out to dinner with looked at her and said, "What's going on?" And she said, "Oh, full of drama." She said, "Oh, I just got my period and I have terrible cramps." And, she started describing the cramps to him because he was a man and he couldn't understand cramps. Anyway, so he looks at her, and he was a pretty evolved soul. And he looked at her and he said, "Wow, so what's the reward you're getting for that?" And she was just livid. She couldn't believe that. How dare he contradict these terrible cramps that she was having? And again, all the drama. And she looked at him, but she knew on some level that he was right. Maybe she is getting some kind of a reward from this. So she pondered it for a few minutes, and she said to him, "Well, I think you're right. I think the reward I'm getting is that once a month, I'm guaranteed attention and I don't have to do anything and I can rest and I can, take whatever it is she was taking for the cramps. But mostly she was getting all kinds of attention from this. So she just acknowledged all of that verbally to this guy, even though it was like, oh, I'm scared to acknowledge all of this. But she did. And as she was acknowledging it, she felt her body start to relax, and she literally felt the cramps dissipate. And the interesting part about this, the miraculous part about this, is that from then on, she never had cramps again. And she had been suffering from this for, as far back as she can remember, as soon as she started menstruating. Never had cramps again, just by acknowledging the reward that she was getting. Really interesting. And I've had other students have all kinds of things just from realizing the reward that they were getting from this situation. Now, let me get into some details about rewards. And I have a whole list here, and I know that I'm not supposed to be reading these things as I'm talking to you, but because it's a long list, I've decided it's okay to read it. So I'm going to give you a list of common rewards, just so you get an idea of what some of these things are. And if you're hearing all of this list and you're noticing some, some ahas happening or some bells ringing, just recognize that that might be something to look at. Okay, so the first reward, and it's probably the biggest one, is that we get to be right and make other people wrong. So as long as I keep getting this reward, I get to keep saying in some way to somebody, it could be somebody that's not even here anymore, but to somebody in my life, I'm right and you're wrong. Now, there's a duality. There's like the contradiction of some of these rewards. So you might want to look at it in this way, that I get to be wrong and make others right. So I get to prove that I'm wrong, and everybody gets to know that they're right about me in some way. Now, the second one, as I kind of was describing about that person with the cramps, is that I get to be a victim or a martyr. That's a really big one to your fear-based consciousness. So I get to look like this poor, innocent, helpless victim, such a martyr. I get to have you save me in some way. I get to not have to do anything for one day out of every month, or whatever form it shows up in. The third one, and this is a big one too, they're all big, but this is a really big one. I get to have control because I feel so powerless in my life. Maybe this reward is giving me some kind of appearance of power and control. It's not real power and control, but it looks that way. It maybe feels that way to my fear-based consciousness. The next one is I get attention and approval. Like I said, getting that once a month cramp gave that student a lot of attention, a lot of approval, a lot of pity. That could be a really big reward that we get. The next one is I get to avoid, excuse me, fill in the blank. So I get to avoid having to do something. I get to avoid having to change careers. I get to avoid having to look at something in my life. So getting to avoid is a really big one. Another one is I get to feel alone, separate, alienated, misunderstood, poor me, all of those things, the victim, that's part of being a victim, getting to be misunderstood or alone, alienated. I get to push others away. That's one. I know these sound kind of yucky, and why would anybody want these? But again, it goes back to needing to be right. It's always about needing to be right for your lower consciousness, even if the rewards are negative. Another one is I get to prove to others that I'm stupid or can't be trusted or I'm helpless, etc. All of those things that maybe we decided about ourselves, and now we keep proving it over and over by not realizing that we're getting some kind of a reward from it. Another one, and this one again is really very common, and that is I get agreement. I get all these people around me that say, yeah, you're right. You can't trust men, or yeah, you're right. You're right. Getting cramps every month is a pain, all of that stuff that we get agreement for, and we subconsciously choose people in our life to give us that agreement. So again, so we can be right. So that's a huge reward that our fear-based consciousness, our little lower selves really love. Another one is that I get to feel guilty and bad. I have some videos that I've done talking about the part of us that really feels guilty and bad all the time. And that's a big reward. Again, it sounds like it's negative, but to our fear-based consciousness, it's like a nice little payoff that we get. I get to be punished. That's kind of hand in hand with getting to feel guilty and bad. So I get to be punished. As long as I keep this reward, I'm guaranteed complete punishment and keeping my power down and all of that stuff. I get to fill in the blank. I get to feel sad, angry, frustrated, jealous, whatever it is. I get to hold on to that reward and whatever payoffs I get for that. I get to have drama, intensity, turmoil, all of that stuff that our fear-based consciousness just loves, especially drama. It loves that. Like I was saying about the person that was having cramps, she had all this drama going on. And part of that also is we get to hold on to our story. Our story, no matter if it's negative, we get so many payoffs, so many rewards for it. I had a student one time that, had a very traumatic incident. Her house burned down when she was young. And she used to tell this story and all the drama and all the support that she would get for that. Oh my God, no wonder your life is so horrible. Your house burned down, and she just held on to that story forever until she was finally able to realize that she was getting a ton of rewards for that. And she was able to release that and resolve that. Let's see what else. Oh, I get to fail. I get to have excuses for failing. So hold on to my rewards, because failure is a big reward in kind of a very negative way. I get to prove something or make statements in some way. A lot of rewards that we hold on to just keep perpetuating that statement that we get to make, or that story, as I said before. I get to feel special and unique. That's a big one. So as long as I hold on to these rewards, everybody thinks, wow, you're special, you're unique. So that's a big one for our fear-based consciousness. I get to not change, not grow, not evolve, not become the higher consciousness person that I really am. So that's a big one. By the way, probably all of these on some level is preventing us or keeping us from becoming those higher consciousness aware, loving human beings that we truly are inside. So they just keep our power down in some way. I get to long for and dream about, but never take any action, never actually do it. It's like, oh, someday I'll go to Europe. Someday I will, whatever, fill in the blank. But as long as I hold on to these rewards, I don't ever have to do those things. I don't ever have to become that person. And I get to not be who I really am. I'm kind of repeating the same thing because it's important enough to hear it twice, but I get to not be who I really am. I get to not be that higher consciousness, empowered, amazing human that I truly am. So that's my list. If a pattern is not clearing up in your life, chances are there's some kind of lower consciousness reward system that is more important or more significant or giving you more value than being a higher self, empowered, aware human being. So take a look at it. And like I said, that person just had to notice her reward system and things shifted. But I do have to say that chances are you need to get a little bit deeper, and that's the work that I offer. I help you dig up the real source of that reward system, so you can really resolve it and get past it in your life. Reach out to me. I would love to work with you to get to the core, get to the roots of why you even have that reward system to begin with. You can find me at roycemorales.com. All of my books are available on Amazon. Please make sure to subscribe to my videos, because I'm going to be giving you a lot more information in the weeks to come. I do put out a video once a week, and it's just filled with all of this important information, so you can become that amazing higher consciousness person that you already are. Again, roycemorales.com, hit subscribe. Thank you so much for viewing my videos and being willing to evolve and become who you really are. See you soon.